What's up, guys? It's Braden Sky. Thank you for tuning into the Braden Sky Show, episode number 7. Today's guest is Oscar Martinez. He is an Amazon seller focused on online arbitrage and wholesale FBA, who is currently doing $80,000 per month in revenue as of November 2021. I had him on the podcast because I was really interested in the online arbitrage business model. And after doing this interview, I decided to completely pause my Facebook business and focus all of my efforts onto Amazon and doing online arbitrage. So very impactful interview. I hope you get a lot of value from this conversation. Let's get straight into the interview. All right, Oscar Martinez, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, good to hear, man. I really appreciate you hopping on a call with me in the absolute dead center of Q4, the absolute busiest time that you could be taking an hour out of your day. I appreciate you calling me for that. I want to talk to you about what you're currently doing, and I want to learn from you, and hopefully the people that are listening, hopefully they can learn some things from you as well. But first, let's start with a little bit of a hero's journey. So first question that I'll be asking to e-commerce people, how old are you?
29 currently.
29. Okay, that's actually pretty old for someone doing e-com.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot. Like, what's up?
These days, yeah, there's a lot of like younger people now doing it, so it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So what were you doing before you started selling on Amazon?
I actually worked for a distributor, which is funny.
So you were working in a warehouse?
Yeah, basically just doing, basic warehouse work type of stuff, pulling orders, all that. So yeah, that's what I was doing basically before that, doing this Amazon thing.
Mm-hmm. And I tried to watch as many of your YouTube videos as I could before hopping on the interview. I didn't have time to watch them all. But you were doing like a bunch of finance videos before that too, right? Talking about stocks, investing.
Yeah, I did a few. Like I got into the whole like once you find out about stocks and investing, you kind of just stuck with you. So yeah, I started doing a little bit of videos on that, mainly because I never knew about stocks whatsoever growing up. So, I was probably like 24, 25 when I found out about it. So it just really interested me.
Damn.
Yeah.
25. I've got into it probably was 20 when I started learning. When I actually started to have like legitimate knowledge in stocks, to where if I was talking to an adult, I could correct them, be like, no, that's not how a 401k works. That's how a Roth IRA works, So what made you actually want to start selling, like going from like working in a warehouse? What made you actually want to start selling on Amazon? Like, how'd you find out about the business model, and what was your main appeals to getting into it?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, like I was in that phase, because we all go through that phase where we just kind of want to try out so many different things to make money aside from like a job, so that's why I was doing the stock thing, and I was trying to do the YouTube thing. Then I started getting into like crypto stuff, just this and that. And then I stumbled upon Amazon a bit too. And before Amazon, I actually started doing like a little bit eBay first. So I did that first. But yeah, so it actually started with me watching Noah's videos. I don't know, just something about the way he was presenting the stuff he was teaching looked very legit and stuff. So it caught my attention the most. And yeah, so I bought his course, got cool with them, and little by little, I started learning from him, started implementing basically right away what he was teaching. Like I got the LLC from day one. So I spent money on that, got a few supplies, and yeah, started opening accounts and started from there. And what also got me into that business too is basically my bosses at my job kind of pissed me off pretty bad too. And I was like, man, even if I go to a new job, the same shit could still happen there, if something doesn't work out, and then I'm still stuck in that same position. So just wanting that freedom from not having someone to tell me what to do or tell me this and that, kind of really what took off for me the most, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I don't mind being told what to do per se, but like with having like a traditional job, I started working at McDonald's as my first job, and then from there had a series of pretty terrible jobs. For me, the big thing was like somebody telling me that I couldn't request a day off.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to go to like a music festival and I had the money to afford to be able to do it, but my job was like, no, sorry, we declined your request for days off. Like for me, like that was the big thing that made me want to get into like reading the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Right.
And then from there, like wanted to become a digital nomad and try to find like some online income. Yeah. So you started with wholesale drop shipping. That's kind of like not very beginner friendly.
Yeah, I mean, because I've heard of Amazon and stuff, but I didn't really, I don't know, when I was doing it, when I started, I felt like it wasn't as wide known compared to now.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, like I started watching stuff, and I don't know, just I guess Noah's like, I don't know what you call it, like realness, his non-fake guru-y stuff that other people show just caught my attention. So yeah, I just
Yeah.
decided to try it out.
Noah Minsis, by the way, for the people watching.
Oh yeah,
I did a episode with him, I think 3 episodes ago. I'll link it in
right.
the description just because you brought it up twice. Figured
Yeah,
I can
shout
link
out
back
to
to that.
him.
So I mean, how did you find your first wholesale supplier? Because that's not like something that is easy to do.
Well,
Especially, I mean, were you doing like buying in bulk or were you actually doing like wholesale drop shipping?
no, I was actually doing wholesale drop shipping. So yeah, I just did what Noah was teaching in the courses, was looking for suppliers through Google. I kind of went out based off a little what he was doing himself, which was doing a lot of home decor suppliers. So I
Mm-hmm.
implemented that same thing. And I managed to find my first supplier, made an account, and they approved me right away. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't too hard to do it, honestly, after that.
I wonder if the market was a lot less saturated back then as it is now, because I've put some work into finding wholesale suppliers and I can't fucking do it.
Yeah, like I'll go back to some of the older suppliers that I've when I started first sourcing them.
Mhm.
And like, yeah, it's much harder. Like now they don't accept more Amazon sellers or this and that. So yeah, it's definitely more saturated more these days.
Yeah. So you found a wholesale supplier. How'd that work out?
I mean, it worked out. I just signed up for it on the website, made an account. I started listing some of the products on Amazon and eBay, and I actually made my first sale within like a week just of
Really?
doing that. So yeah, I was like, whoa, this really works. So
You want to
yeah,
elaborate on that?
on the sale.
Yeah. Or just like how the first, let's say, month or two went with sales.
Let me see. I don't even remember the months because I also didn't take it that serious either. Like
Mhm.
I was just still messing around with this. So that first year I only made like 4,000 in sales for the total year on Amazon. So I made a few hundred this month, an extra hundred that next month, but that's just in sales too. That's not actual profit. So but yeah, and then Q4 came for that first year. I made my first 1,000 that month in sales. And then that thing that happened around the world actually happened the year right after that. So that's when I really saw the volume jump up, and that's when I started taking it a bit more serious too.
What do you,
But
the thing that happened around the world? You mean the Roni Rona?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Just
know.
try to
I don't know. We could say this.
censor it for the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the Roni Rona, you got like a pretty big spike in sales like everyone else in e-commerce.
Yeah, like stuff that was just sitting, like bad buys that I made the months before then, like it just started selling out of nowhere for
Mhm.
me. So I was like, oh snap, everything's just flying out right now. So I was actually able to clear out my garage from a lot of dead buys from that.
So because I've seen, from your videos, you're basically sending a lot of stuff to your garage. Are you doing retail arbitrage? Or are you buying stuff from wholesale suppliers and sending them to your house basically to act as a prep center?
Like right now or during that time.
Let's go back then and right now.
Back then, so yeah, I was still doing the wholesale drop shipping. And then when the Roni thing happened, I realized that retail arbitrage was becoming a huge opportunity too. So I started doing more of that the rest of the year too. And that's also the reason why I kind of stopped with the wholesale drop shipping during that time, because I would get orders from my like on Amazon for my suppliers, but because of the whole situation, they couldn't get them in stock for like a month basically. So
Mhm.
I couldn't fulfill those orders for a whole month, and so I was like, man, this I don't know, I don't know if I wanted to keep doing this method like that going forward. So yeah, so I started dabbing into RA, which is retail arbitrage. Then I started getting more into OA, which is online arbitrage. And then just recently now I'm trying to go more heavy into wholesale FBA moving forward. But I'm still building up all that capital to do that more.
Mhm. Right now, where would you say your revenues are in terms of those four business models?
Well,
Like
let's see.
revenue in numbers or like as a percentage of total revenue?
Nowadays I'm only doing online arbitrage and wholesale now, so everything else I cut it off.
Okay, so you
Uh,
stopped doing retail arbitrage.
yes, I stopped that like during the beginning of this year, actually.
Yeah, and why did you stop that? Because that's actually one of the things that I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes up so much time.
Yeah.
Like you have to wake up, drive, waste gas, fill up your carts. You still got to take the time to check them out, fill them up in bags. Then you still got to go home, unload the car, unload the products, and I mean, it was way too much time. Uh, like with retail arbitrage, I could spend like $3,000 in like an 8 hour period.
Hmm.
With OA wholesale, I could spend that same amount in like less than 10 minutes.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Really?
that's yeah, oh yeah, easily.
Damn. So like when I was watching your videos, one of the things that like I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm glad that you changed it, and I was actually going to recommend that you do change it.
Right,
Is like using your garage as a prep center. Because I saw that like your entire garage was just filled with boxes, and you were, I
right,
watched a video where you're like, hey, here's the packing supplies that I'm using. Like
right,
I've
right,
got
right.
the, like the boxes, and I'm putting everything in and manually shipping it out myself. I was thinking like, there's no possible way that you can scale with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Let me know if you agree or disagree, but I'm kind of thinking that retail arbitrage would be a really good way for someone who wants to learn like how to sell on Amazon or like the beginners of
right.
entrepreneurship. Retail arbitrage would probably be really good to start with, right?
Yeah, retail arbitrage or even online arbitrage is both good these days. It's basically the same concept. One of them you're just going in the store, another one you can just sit at home on your laptop. So, but like
Mm-hmm.
all the sourcing methods, using Keep, all that, it's all the same thing. So, but yeah, if you wanted to start selling on Amazon, either method is perfect to start with, though.
But you think online arbitrage is actually beginner friendly?
Yes, like I said, it's the same as retail arbitrage. You're just not going in the store. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
could buy like 5 units of one product just to try them out and see how they go. Same with RA. You could do the same thing, test 5 products and see how it goes. So as far as the risk and stuff, they're probably about equal to me.
So how does online arbitrage work the way that you do it? Do you actually buy a product from, let's say, Walmart.com, then you ship it to your house, or do you ship it to a prep center?
Yeah, so we don't use a prep center currently. May look into it next year. But yeah, we'll buy it from Walmart, Target, whatever retail website, and then have it shipped to our house. We'll prep it, label it, whatever we got to do. We box it back up in another box with other products, and then we'll just send them back to the FBA warehouses from there.
Mm-hmm. Why did you decide this year to not use a prep center?
I don't know, man. It's just I've heard some
It's just
like I've heard some stories about prep centers, like I'm more like I like to be in control of most of the business like that, at least
mhm.
in-house. Like I would much rather hire someone to be in control of that here versus like somewhere else, but which I'm aware of that will limit scalability with OA. I mean, no doubt. But I mean, I have people who help me, so I'm okay with that. Just the fact that I have helpers prepping for me, that's about the equivalent of having a prep center anyway. So
When you say you have helpers, what do you mean?
preppers, we'll receive inventory and we'll spend the weekend. They'll be prepping it, labeling it, polybagging it, whatever needs to be done with the products. And so, because if I'm receiving like 2,000 units, I'm not about to prep all of that by myself. That would take
Mhm.
me like a whole week probably to do. But with help, we can knock it out in like one good day.
So are they like friends and family, or are they actual employees?
Yeah, family.
Friends and family. Okay.
Yeah, at least for
Damn.
them.
I think we got different perspectives on like lifestyles. I don't know if you know, but like right now I'm in Medellin, Colombia,
Right.
and I'm thinking about getting into online arbitrage, but I 1000% am going to be using a prep center
President. Right.
because like I mean, in order for me, and like retail arbitrage for me is completely out of the books because in
Oh yeah.
order for me to like go to my nearest Walmart, it would literally like I would have to get like 2 passport stamps, like
Oh, snap.
like a $500 flight. So like in my mind, retail arbitrage, like I think it would be good if I was still living in the States. And actually, before I started my current business, I was experimenting with retail arbitrage.
Right.
My former business partner showed me he had like the little finger scanner, and you would go to like the Ross and you would scan it, see if it's good on eBay. There was a couple of reasons why I didn't want to do that. One was because I was doing a road trip and I just didn't want to deal with it at that point. But it did seem like a pretty decent opportunity. We found some colognes that you could buy for like $20. Sell for you could buy them like $20 at Ross, sell them for like $40. After fees, make like $13. But you buy 5 or 6 of these colognes, and
they'll add up. Yeah,
it adds up. Definitely like a good side hustle, good side
right.
income. But it was just so unscalable.
Oh yeah.
And right now for me, like the biggest thing is maintaining location freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's another thing too. Like, if you decide to start selling on Amazon, like, you can do this business in many different ways according to the lifestyle you want to live, right? Like you said, you want to travel the world and stuff, so you don't want to be managing employees or any of that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of sellers like that too, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like me, I'm in a different position than you, because I got family, kids, all of that, so I can't just go anywhere or anything like that. So I have to run my business a little bit different versus like someone like you or anyone else like that. So yeah, that's a good point though.
But I mean, so I know you worked in a warehouse at a distribution center. So basically, like the work that you're doing then is similar to the work you're doing now. So to me, it seems like you kind of just like gave yourself like a 2 or 3x pay raise.
Yeah, basically, like because
Plus some more freedom too.
Because I tried moving up in my company, but they didn't move me up for whatever reason. So and I was like, screw it, let me try this Amazon thing, take it more serious, and yeah, so now I'm out here on my own and just doing my own thing. So, but you're right, it's basically the similar kind of what do you call it, like industry type of stuff, because we do contact like those type of warehouses for inventory. So yeah, you're right in that aspect.
Have you looked at the numbers of using a prep center in terms of how much more it would cost versus like how much per unit you'd be saving by fulfilling the orders yourself instead of using a prep center?
I have not ran those numbers actually, and I don't know, man. It's just as we're scaling, it gets more difficult to keep up with certain things for sure. So yeah, I have not been able to run those numbers to see if it would help. I mean, I'm pretty sure it would though, for sure. I mean, even if it's less profit, just the fact that you don't even have to touch the product makes up for that big time. So
I want to go back to a question that I asked because I don't think I got the answer that I was trying to get. So in terms of, I guess, a percentage of your revenues, what are you currently doing in terms of, let's say, so you're not doing any more retail arbitrage at all?
At all.
Okay, so that's down to 0%. For wholesale drop shipping, wholesale FBA, and online arbitrage, what are your numbers looking like right now?
Oh, you mean like percentage wise, like one's 20%?
Percentage or monthly revenue amounts. It's up to you. Whatever you're comfortable with.
The drop shipping, I've stopped that ever since the whole virus thing happened. And I never went back into it just because moving forward, I want to do more wholesale. But yeah, so right now, it's strictly online arbitrage and wholesale. I say it's about 50-50, honestly, 50% each. Equally.
So wholesale FBA, not drop shipping?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, this is us receiving like pallets from wholesalers and prepping those products and then sending them to the FBA warehouses. So yeah.
And you do that prepping yourself too, right?
Well, I got my help to do that. So I mean, like me, I don't even touch the products, honestly.
Yeah.
Just to stack the pallets and shrink them. But as far as like prepping them, I don't even do that. So yeah.
How big is your team in terms of actual helpers in person? And then also, do you have any VAs that are helping you?
Yeah, so in person, it will vary. My wife helps me, so she's one for sure. And then the family members, every now and then we'll have 2 extra family members helping us, and not just the one. So it'll be both of them. And then for VAs, I have 2 VAs currently as well to help with sourcing products for us.
And that's through online arbitrage, right? Or is that also wholesale?
It was strictly online arbitrage, but since we've been working with a bit more wholesalers, I've been having one of them do that more often now.
Mhm.
So yeah.
With online arbitrage, how does that actually work? Do you do like let's say taking it from the top with manual source or with product sourcing? Are you doing manual sourcing? Are you using tactical arbitrage? Like how do you actually find the products to buy?
Yeah, so there's various ways. I mean, that's probably the confusing part about online arbitrage is that you can source in so many different ways. You can start with the retail websites and go from there. You can storefront stock other sellers. So let's say you find a good product
Mhm.
and then you go on under the listing for all the sellers on that product. You can click on one of those storefronts and go through their products and you can try sourcing from there. Or yeah, just manually sourcing like that. I know some people use like software like SellerAmp to help them with sourcing as well. So there's various ways. But me and my team now, we just manually source products at this point.
Manual sourcing meaning what?
If it's for online arbitrage, they'll go on a website, like let's say Walgreens, for example. Let's say they're having a 20% off, I don't know, like vitamins or something. They'll
Mhm.
just go through every single one of those products on that particular category and just see what's profitable and what's not.
Just run it through a calculator, say like, add up the fees, add up the shipping costs and all that.
No, they don't have to. We have rev sellers, so when they're searching those products on the Amazon page, it'll pull up and it'll show all the fees, how much profit, and all that. So, I mean, they don't have to run all those numbers themselves.
And then with online arbitrage, you mostly just focused on when there's a discount with let's say like Walgreens.com. Is that where
Right.
you actually can make like your purchases?
I try not to because we also want to focus on products that that are at full price. But if we have to, yeah, we'll go through those deals and get more profit for our money for sure.
Mm-hmm. So you mostly focus on like replens.
We try to, yes.
One thing that I've been wondering, because to me, like the business model seems really simple. Whenever there is a business model that seems really simple with very little barrier of entry, I just assume without doing any research that there's
Right.
probably like an oversaturation
Oh
in
yeah.
the market, especially when there's a ton of YouTubers that are teaching it.
Yes.
Like with the advertise, like the marketing style that a lot of like e-commerce
Mhm.
YouTubers tend to do, where it's like, hey, I made this amount of money. Look at my Lambo. Like, we've
Right.
all seen the ads. Like, whenever I see that, I just assume that probably won't work because if it did work, one, why would they teach it? Like with
Right.
my last business, I think I did. I'll have to check the numbers, but I probably did like 3 million in revenue
God.
in 2 years, and I wasn't teaching it. One, because I didn't think it was long term sustainable.
Right.
But two, I was like, well, why am I going to teach you my secrets?
Well,
Like,
I feel like in OA, there's plenty of products out there for us to source. So I don't think I wouldn't say there's too much of a big secret with OA, but I agree. It's getting more saturated for sure.
mhm. So if there's plenty of products to source, what would you say your major bottleneck is?
Bottleneck, having the capital to buy them all, really. I mean,
That's what I was thinking.
because in the beginning, you have some money, but you don't have the products, so you got to go through that phase. But as you start scaling, you'll find a ton of more products, and then capital starts becoming an issue for sure.
Mhm. So it's not actually the amount of time that you're spending sourcing the products and like prepping them. It's actually like just legitimately the amount of capital that you have is your main limiting factor right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially with two VAs and stuff, like it's easier to spend that capital real quick. Like in one good week, I could spend probably 20,000 if I really want it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
What do the profit margins look like with OA?
Oh,
Like, what do you shoot for?
I mean, ours currently, they've always been around 10 to 20%, more on the
It's
10 or
pretty good.
15. And that's after all expenses too. Like that's what
Yeah.
people don't get. Like that's after all expenses, software, supplies,
Oh,
paying my
really?
VAs. Yeah.
So net margin is 10 to 15.
Yeah.
What do you think gross margin is? 15 to 20?
Well, around there. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
So
after
like,
everything, yeah, it'll be closer to the 10% though, around there.
so just basic numbers. If you were selling a product for $20 on Amazon, you're buying it for 16, all expenses factored in.
Wait, you said if we're selling it for 20?
You're buying it for 16. Yeah, right. 80%.
You said buy for 16 and sell for 20? So
Mm-hmm.
let's say we're buying for 16.
Simpler numbers. So you buy it for $8, you sell it for 10.
No, you would have to sell it like for, if you bought it at 8, you would have to sell it for like 16 minimum at least.
No, I'm saying like all factors included.
Yes.
Yeah. That's nice, dude. That's really impressive. I was expecting a lot lower.
No, I mean, if it's lower, then you're probably more scaling way more, honestly, at that point. Because I know as you scale, the margins get lower. So I
Mm-hmm.
think if it's lower, then now you're doing like 8 figures at that point. So
Okay. Why haven't you? So if your main bottleneck right now is capital, I've got two questions related to that.
yeah,
One, why don't you just go take out? I mean, this is a theoretical question. I know obviously this isn't going to be a good idea to do, but why don't you just go take out a loan for $1 million? Since you already know how to do the product research, you already know how to find the
right.
profitable products, you know how to sell them in or send them in, you know how to sell them, by analyzing the keeper charts, what the products are likely to do. Why don't you just go take out like this massive loan and use that to scale?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about taking out like big loans like that, but I've taken smaller loans from Amazon, because they offered them. Like I've taken a small loan before in the past, but I don't know. To me, that's a lot of money to take on. You also don't want to ever over leverage yourself either. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because let's say if I took out 1 million, I'm not gonna know how to spend that million right away. Like it's gonna take me a while to spend that. So at the same time, as far as growth, I don't mind the growth that we're doing personally. I'm okay with taking it 1 month at a time, and knowing that we're not in debt to anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'd rather much take that versus taking out a huge loan and then scaling so fast that you don't know what happened or something like that. So,
Yeah, that's what I did, and it was scary.
oh really?
Yeah. So with Facebook, and by the way, dude, I'm really fucking excited to not have to use Facebook anymore because I fucking hate them. And I know like I'm gonna experience a ton of like headaches with Amazon, but dude, the
Right.
headaches that I've experienced with Facebook would blow your fucking mind. So I had this time last year, Q4, I had a massive bump in sales
Right.
on one of my shops. I think my daily at its peak, I was doing in terms of revenue $5,000 a day
Right.
for like a month or two. And I was just, fulfilling all those orders, putting all the cost of goods on a credit card.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, when I get the money, I'll pay it off. But then Facebook decided that my shop was money laundering,
No.
and they banned me, and they said, yeah, you
Oh,
can submit an appeal. So I submitted an appeal, and a day later they were like, oh yeah, you're right. We investigated your account. You're not money laundering. My bad. But then sales went to $0 per day, and they stayed
wow.
there on that shop forever.
Wow.
So
What
on one
the?
shop, it went from $5,000 a day to $0 a day. And then they had $120,000 that they owed me
Oh,
in my
snap.
pending balance. And they said basically like they were like, your payouts are on pause, and we're not going to tell you when we're going to unpause your payouts, and we're just going to keep your money until we feel like it.
What?
So one, they took
Man.
my massive shop from me, and then two, they held on to $120,000. Eventually, I got paid that in one lump sum. I think it was like 3 very stressful months later.
God, that's a long time, man.
Like it was a fun day to celebrate because I was looking at my bank account. I was like, dude, I got $120,000 cash in there. Immediately, $70,000 of it went to credit cards. Fucking $30,000 went to taxes. So I personally didn't get to keep that much of it.
Oh.
But I'm so excited to not have to deal with things like that when it comes to Amazon because you don't have to worry about your Amazon account getting banned, do you?
I wouldn't say banned, more like suspended. I mean, because every business model has their own like issues, right?
Yeah.
Because I have heard some similar stories like with you with Amazon accounts too. Uh, it's rare. I mean, it can happen, but the chances are they're not that high. You
Mm-hmm.
know, for the most part, I think on Amazon, as long as you're following the guidelines, you're not doing nothing shady, you're fulfilling orders on time. you're fixing up issues right away. For the most part, you should be fine.
Mm-hmm. What I've heard with Amazon is that like the most important thing is that you maintain your seller metrics. Like I've heard I've only briefly sold on Amazon with a failed private label product.
Right.
But it's just like your order defect rate, your customer response time. What other metrics are important to pay attention to with Amazon?
As far as that stuff, yeah, that if you get like IP complaints, you want to deal with those. What else? I forgot what the other one was. It's IP complaints and I think counterfeit claims, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are the two main ones you definitely want to resolve right away. Those two things right there for sure.
But you can resolve both of those just by not using or just by using online arbitrage from reliable retail sites and by using wholesale suppliers, right?
Yeah, especially with the wholesaler suppliers, for the most part, they should work. I mean, every once in a while, Amazon is a little off on some of their stuff, and they'll still deny them. So you'll have to keep resubmitting, reappealing, but it should work though.
Okay. What has been the hardest part so far of your entire Amazon business?
Oh, that's a good question. Uh, Let me see. Oh, that's a tough one to answer because I've always taken this business like one day at a time, like I
Mm-hmm.
never really, I mean, if anything, my biggest loss was probably last year when I made a wholesale order of like $3,000. I guess that might have been the one. Uh, and that failed because at the time that product was doing very well. And then another seller hopped on with like 1,000 units and they tanked that price by like $10. So I was screwed out on that money. But I mean, aside from that, I don't know. To me, it's like it's weird. Like I've been through more harder stuff in life in general for me to really say Amazon's hard in itself. Like to me, I would much rather do this than work at my job like I had, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, dollar per dollar, you like your current position better, but you're making probably 3, 4 times as much.
oh
Probably
yeah.
more, actually, right?
Yeah, more for sure. Like the pay there was not good.
Yeah. So you're gonna do like $80,000 in revenue this month, right?
Yeah, for the month of November.
Mm-hmm. So Q4 obviously is gonna be bigger, but you said that's like 10 to 15% net margin.
Correct. So it'll be like around 8,000 around there after all expenses,
It's
which is not
fucking
bad.
nice, dude. What were you making
Yeah.
at your warehouse job?
Oh man.
$12 an hour.
Nah, I think it was like 15, 16, something like that. But I know the monthly payment, the monthly like checks would come out to like 2,500 or some shit like that, around that
Okay.
much.
So
So
from
yeah,
$2,500 a month to this month, they'll do like 8 to 10,000.
we'll see how December does.
That's true.
I need to send in. I haven't been able to restock my stuff, so I don't expect it to be a bit better than November, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows?
That's crazy to me that your biggest bottleneck is just the amount of capital that you could do. Um, and I was really curious. I definitely wanted to make sure to ask you this question. So you went from, so you had $1,000,
Right.
and in your first year, you turned that into $50,000 in revenue with $9,000 profit. How much do you think you would have been able to make if you started with, let's say, $100,000 in capital?
Like in the first full beginning year.
Your first full year, yeah. If you had like the amount of knowledge that you had as a beginner, but
Mm-hmm.
instead of having $1,000, you had $100,000 to throw at products. What do you
Oh
think you would
man,
have done?
a lot. Like that's you could easily hit 7, 8 figures in one good year if you know what you're doing with that money for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you could easily triple, if not even more, your money with that 100K for sure.
Do you think online arbitrage is actually scalable enough to hit 7 figures?
Yeah, there's 7 figure always sellers out there actually. So
Really?
it's possible.
Damn.
Like they're out there. But I mean, of
That's
course,
fucking wild, dude.
but they have their systems in place and everything, so that's what's helped them the most. But
Mm,
yeah, it's very possible.
okay. Here's one of the things that I've been really wondering when it comes to wholesale drop shipping, because my perspective on business is that the only way to make money is to provide value to people. And
Right.
the more value you provide, the more money that you make. When I think about wholesale drop shipping, what I'm not fully sure about is where the value add comes into place. So if there's a wholesale supplier who has the ability to fulfill the orders one by one, which that alone to me is confusing, because when I think of a wholesale supplier, I think of
Right.
them, sending out pallets, not trying to send out products one by one. So
Right.
that was interesting to learn. Um, but if they're Amazon eligible and they're willing to sell, if they're willing to sell you their products for you to go sell on Amazon, why don't they just sell it on Amazon themselves?
A lot of them don't want to deal with the hassle that comes with Amazon, It's much
Mm-hmm.
easier to sell that product to people like me and you versus having to do it on Amazon, deal with customer returns, Amazon's health account system. So yeah, that's why a lot of them don't want to deal with Amazon, but they'll deal with sellers. I mean, because if a supplier sells products to you, at the end of the day, they made their money. They could really care less whether you make a profit or not from it. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes more sense.
But to me, I feel like they're doing a lot of they're doing the actual heavy work where they're actually having the warehouse, they're paying the staff the $15 an
Right.
hour, now probably 18 because of the labor shortage. So they're paying out
Right.
the $18 an hour for everyone to actually fulfill the orders, and they've got the warehouse and they've got the rent and they're paying for the light. So to me, it seems like they're taking like an asymmetrical amount of the risk. And when I look at like the value that you're providing to the wholesale suppliers, I don't see how the exchange is really mutual beneficial. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, so it depends. Like if it's with just strictly wholesale suppliers, I'm not even sure myself, to be honest, because you're right. I would much rather sell in bulk versus one product by one product.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I mean, maybe they get a few more sales extra just by doing that. So maybe it makes sense to them. With brands, I can kind of understand why, because they would want to expand their brands to more people out there. So, if you tell brands, hey, we can get your products on Amazon, we can expose them more out there for you. We'll do all the PPC, all the listings, the description. You don't got to nothing but sell it to us. So I can see why with brands that would work much better versus with
Mm-hmm.
like wholesalers.
Do you do PPC campaigns?
No, I have not tried it out.
Yeah, I'm wondering that with how steeply that cuts into your margin, because with net margins of 10 to 15%, you really can't spend that
Yeah.
much money on
On
on PPC campaigns.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that would increase your revenue a lot, but I feel like with that, you'd probably have to be doing like wholesale FBA where your margins are a little bit higher.
Yeah, like doing very good volume to make that up. So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
What kind of margins do you have when you're actually doing wholesale FBA?
It's about the same. Well, I actually totaled all of it in together, the wholesale and OA. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what our basically net margins are at. I know with OA they could be much higher, but we do like more low ASP selling type of products. Like because people who do like higher ASP products like Nike shoes where they're buying one for like $50, $60 compared to us where we'll buy like I don't know, 10 products for $2 each. So those numbers will make a difference on that too.
Mm-hmm. So you mostly do like very low ticket items,
Yeah, basically. Like we'll mess with a lot of grocery products that we can have very low return rates with.
non-perishable though, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay. Yeah,
Like can't.
perishable, that would get really
Yeah.
complicated if you're like selling gallons of milk. You're like, dude, I bought it for $2. I can ship it in.
Yeah, I don't think you can sell those that I'm aware of.
Dude, imagine the return rate if you were selling like perishable products.
Oh
Like imagine
man.
how angry customers would be, just like, dude, fucking my milk came chunky. It's like
You
this
go
is
out of
delivered on December 7th. The expiration date was November 24th. What the fuck, dude?
you go out of business real quick.
Your fucking seller metrics would be dog shit. Um, to me, it seems like you went straight from having a job to having pretty quickly a successful Amazon business. Did you have any failures on the way there?
Like doing the Amazon business or
Yeah, like with the Amazon business, did you try any type of business model that just did not work?
yeah, like I said, did some eBay before that, so I would actually do, I guess what they call nowadays like thrifting or whatever.
Okay.
So I would go like to retail stores buying like discounted clothes, and I would try listing them on eBay. It worked here and there. Like I would get 2, 3 sales a month from some of it, but then once I started getting to the Amazon, I kind of cut that off, just because it took so much time. I mean, selling on eBay takes so much time, like taking photos, making the listings, getting all the keywords. Like, so I didn't like that model, honestly, as far as long term. Uh, so I did that a little. I was trying to do the YouTube thing to make that into a thing. Like you mentioned earlier, I was doing some of the like stock videos and stuff, but I don't know. When FBA caught my eye, I kind of dropped that as well a bit. So I guess yeah, those are some of the few ones right there, other than just moving from job to jobs. So
Have you thought about because I know you said that you don't have much of an interest selling on eBay. I listened to that video like maybe an hour ago. Have you thought about taking all your replant items and posting them on eBay? Then just doing like a promoted listing campaign?
yeah, I've thought about it. But I think for me to do that, I would have to hire someone to do that separately for us because I really don't want to deal with the eBay aspect of that. You know, that's just a lot of work to do. One thing we've been talking about is doing a website maybe and doing some stuff there because we live here in Texas, so there's a lot of like Texas specific products here that you can't get nowhere else. So if we can make a website based on those products, I'm pretty sure it'll work out, but we'll see how that goes.
That sounds complicated, man. I'm when I'm looking at like the future of what I want my career to be, it's just like just buy some products, send them into Amazon, fucking go carry on with whatever else I was gonna do for that day, like salsa
Right.
dancing or scuba diving or whatever. The idea of like creating a new a website, creating a brand, and like all that shit. I'm just like, man, I'm fucking. There's a quote actually. Have you read it, The 4 Hour Work Week?
I think I listened to it on Audible. I don't have the book physically, but I think I've listened to it.
Okay. There was one quote in that book that really stood out to me where there was a guy who started it was a drop shipping, but it was before like drop shipping as a term was really known.
Right.
Pretty much what he said is, I want to figure out a way to make the most amount of money with the least amount of work. And his solution to that was starting a drop shipping business, doing like speakers, and he was making like 10,000 a month. That's closer to what I'm looking to do. The last guy that I interviewed, he said pretty much like he doesn't care how much he's working. He just wants to grow his business to a point where he can do like some massive like 7 or 8 figure exit. I'm cool with just making $3,000 a month.
I'm kind of with that guy too. I want to take this business as far as possible.
How far do you want to take it?
Do you watch me Amazon or Amazon Lit in them?
Not, I think I've watched a couple of his videos, but
Well, they're
not
doing
really.
it. They're doing it pretty good at skill. I basically want to take it to that level too.
Well, he actually has a warehouse, right?
Yeah, they have like huge ass warehouses, whole team of employees, like the whole thing.
Damn. You want to take it that high?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
And for that, what do you need? Just more capital?
Yeah, more capital, sourcing more products, outsourcing a lot of other stuff that's going on in the business. Like, well, there's a lot of stuff I need to be outsourcing, but also just getting a warehouse, hopefully. Even if we start small, just getting one in place. But yeah.
Texas is a good place for it because you got very comparable shipping times to New England and San Francisco and Washington. You're right in the center of the country, so
yeah, that's true.
it's a good place for it. Also, land is cheap.
Yeah, I think some of the lease rent, whatever. Yeah. So,
how much were you making from Amazon when you actually decided, like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna make the leap of faith and I'm gonna quit my job?
you mean like the monthly
Yeah.
profits? A little bit more than what my job was paying me. So I was like, let me make a bit more than what I'm making from there, and then I'll do it. So yeah, because I just quit last October, like last year. So yeah, so once I saw that amount, I was like, all right, I'm out. And it was during Q4 too, so I knew I was gonna make more than that. So I was like, screw it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's good, man. I took the exact opposite approach.
oh, really?
Yeah. So when I first, I was driving Uber,
Oh, okay.
for like I don't want to say career, but like from my source of income, I was
Right.
driving Uber, and then I just listened to um, I was just watching a bunch of videos, learn, teaching Amazon private label, drop shipping, all the e-commerce stuff. And I just decided one day I was going to go take out a $5,000 loan from the bank, and
Right.
I'm going to stop working, and I'm just going to focus on taking this Amazon course and figuring it out. So I bought 500 units of a private label product, and I sent them into Amazon. Um,
Yeah.
then competition came in, which is probably where my fear of competition, or like fear of oversaturation, comes in.
Right.
The products went from, I think it was probably like $18 when I bought it, and by the time they were delivered to the warehouse after manufacturing, it was like $13. So there was literally no
Oh,
margin.
snap. Yeah, you're breaking even
Uh,
at that point.
yeah, and it was a private label product, so I didn't even have like the ability to do a launch.
Damn.
So it was basically like all 500 units I just ended up disposing of. Um, so that
Damn.
sucked. But I had no income after that. I was like,
Yeah.
I was so convinced that I was gonna be successful immediately that I had
Right.
no backup plan. So I respect when somebody is um humble enough to wait until their side hustle becomes, bigger than their main hustle before taking the
Right.
leap and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to be focusing on full time now.
I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. If I didn't have no family to worry about, I would have done the same thing as you, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, when it's only you, that's all you got to worry about. But like with kids and all that stuff, you can't really take those type of risks like that without calculating certain things. So yeah, I honestly would have done the same thing as you, honestly.
Yeah. I'm really glad I took that risk, but same as I was telling you earlier, I wouldn't recommend that to fucking anybody.
Yeah.
Like if now, knowing what I know, one of my friends came up to me and they were like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna go deep into debt to start this business, and for sure it's gonna work." I would be like, "Hold up, wait, what happens if it doesn't? What is the risk? Like, I know you think this is gonna work. Maybe it won't. What happens if it doesn't? What's your plan
Yeah.
B? You know?"
Yeah, I know. Like that's some crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. So that actually makes me think of an interesting question. Do you have a plan B? Like, let's say Amazon, for whatever reason, just stops working out. What would you be doing
Right.
instead?
Yeah. I mean, I think about this question like probably once a week, to be honest.
Wow.
I really do. I mean, because I'm like, man, because I know it could happen one day, possibly, right? Like one day Amazon could be like, hey, you're suspended because of this reason or whatever. I mean, I'm humble enough to get a job ASAP if it happens. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I have no shame in that whatsoever because I got a family and stuff. So if I have
Yeah.
to go get money one way, I'll go do it real quick. But as far as that, I don't know. I might take the YouTube part more serious. I mean, the the more videos I've dropped recently, I've noticed my views have gone up more higher. So I could probably
Mm-hmm.
blow that up pretty good if I really wanted to. Uh, so yeah, maybe YouTube. Uh, and I guess if I had to work a job, I'll figure something out. Maybe start doing some eBay, honestly, because I know eBay can work too.
Mm-hmm.
So I might dive into some eBay or Mercari or something like that. So yeah, but yeah, I have thought about that previously too. So
So your plan of action would basically be day one, go get a job just so you can have some income coming in. Then on the side, work on eBay and work on YouTube and work on whatever other e-commerce thing you could do.
yeah, basically back to step one.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to save money here and there too. So that way, if it happens, I don't hopefully have to get into that situation. But yeah, I mean, who knows?
Do you have like, because I know you said you think about it once a week. That's pretty often. Do you have like a fear that everything's going to come crashing down?
It kind of did happen once, like because in Amazon, they're very strict on changing your account information. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
want to change your bank account or address. So I did it one time, like a few months back, where I changed my bank account information or something like that, and they had actually suspended me for like that day because you got to contact them first before you do it. And so that day it was like, whoa, like I can't do nothing else until I
Mm-hmm.
resolve this issue. But it went away the next day after I did this and that. So yeah, I mean, I've gone through that a little bit just from that one day for sure.
Okay. That's good to hear, man. Cause I'm very strongly considering getting an Amazon. I'm going to put, a month worth of effort into it, see what kind of results I get. But the pain in the asses that I've had with Facebook seem like on an average day, I have a worse experience than your worst day with Amazon. Like,
Yeah, I think you'll like it, honestly, compared to Facebook. I think you'll like it, especially the OA prep centers, all that. I think you'll make it work.
I think I will. Who do you think, for what type of person, do you think should get into selling on Amazon versus what type of person do you think should not? Like, who do you think it's right for? Who do you think it's wrong for?
Oh, that's a very good question, honestly. Ah, I guess if you don't mind putting in the work and you know that it's going to be a long-term thing to really get into. I mean, because if you think about it, entrepreneurship just in general alone is not for most people anyways. So we can really say who's entrepreneurship really for, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're willing to go into this business knowing that you're gonna have to put in some work, you need to sacrifice extra time after work that's not going into drinking, playing games, or whatever. If you're willing to do that, give this thing a shot and really invest into it, you should be able to make it, especially if you seek out information, network with other sellers, watch a few YouTube videos, follow certain people. There's really no way you should fail at this other than just not doing it at all, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So you think that if someone, let's say with online arbitrage, if someone puts in the work, you think like 100% they will become profitable? Or
Yeah, I mean,
really?
like I said, if you network with the right sellers and you just exchange information, value, you will make profit from day one.
What do you think would cause someone to fail at it? Just not doing the work that needs to be done?
Yeah, like complete 100% failure will be just not doing it, because you will have failures along the way. Like even to this day, I'm still having a few failures myself with certain products and stuff. So there's no way you're gonna avoid failures. But so if you just decide to quit, stop, that already right there is just boom.
But for the most part, you think like if someone is looking to either, let's say, make some side income, or for me, I mean, I need this to be my full-time
Right.
income. I think I'm going to go to Thailand and become a scuba instructor. But it's just going to be fun. It's not like I'm
Right.
looking to, make a ton of money, but I still want to have some type of side income. Not side income, main income, let's be
Right.
honest. But you think like pretty confidently, let's say me 4 years ago when I was driving for Uber, if I wanted to, and I was willing to put in the work, you think I would almost 100% have success with this?
Yeah, because I did. I mean, I literally, like, I don't have no college degree or anything. I was just a
Mm-hmm.
guy working in warehouses. So
Yeah.
if someone like me could do it, there's no reason why someone else who's in a better situation than me can't do it either.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's leave it
there's,
at that. Oscar, thanks for coming on that podcast, bro. All
yeah.
right. Bye, guys.